Okay, welcome back, you guys. Welcome back to the Honest Art Podcast. I'm giddy with excitement right now to introduce you to my guest, Alicia Leigh Rios. And the reason I'm so excited is a few weeks ago, Alicia did a brand photo shoot for me, and she is the best. Now, I've had other photographers, and they're going to listen to this and be like, "Bitch, please!" But Alicia, I gotta say, is the best brand photographer I've ever worked with. She was so thorough. She was so amazing. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her in a minute, but I couldn't not share her with all of you, with the audience, because she's so good at what she does. And I know a lot of you are interested in this because when I was doing the photo shoot a few weeks ago and I was posting them in my stories, a lot of the questions were coming in for from you saying, do we need a photo shoot? What kind of photos do we need? All of that. And we're going to cover that on today's podcast. But first, hello, Alicia Leigh Rios. How are you?
Hi, Jody. I am good. I am so honored to be here. I am just really excited. I can't wait to talk about it and to support your community, which I already believe in
Uh,
so much. I've only known you a few short weeks and I'm just blown away.
That's well, thank you. The feeling it's a mutual, friendly little love moment that we have because I just adore you. So for you guys out there, I want you to know that I hate photo shoots, like hate with a capital H, hate photo shoots. They feel really unnatural to me. I don't feel like I'm a good poser. I don't know if that's the right word, but I don't know how to pose. I don't know. I just don't. I don't like them. And it was time for a new photo shoot. I think a lot of people, Alicia, you could probably speak to this more, but I think a lot of at least brands that I've seen, especially brands where it's an artist or it's somebody who is the face of the brand, they get photo shoots regularly, like at least once a year, sometimes two or three times a year. I haven't had it done in years because I hate it so much. So when we were looking for photographers, obviously we're in Austin. There's a lot of great photographers. The executive producer of the podcast, Amy, she went through tons of photographers and she narrowed down to a handful. And from that handful, we picked Alicia because of her style, because of her eye, because of her creativity. And we had no idea she was going to be so fun and easy to work with too. So, all right, I'm such a fangirl. I feel like I should stop with the fangirling and let you kind of share
I
something.
gotta tell you, it is such a compliment. These aren't things I get to hear every day, especially not face to face, like maybe in a review, maybe over Instagram with my client, maybe in an email, but like this is really special for me because you have been such a dream client. And I mean, I love artists in general. Anytime an artist wants to work together, I'm like, yay. But as soon as Amy reached out to me, as soon as I got on the phone with you guys, it was like I knew when I talked our first discovery call, I was like, oh, we gotta do this. So it goes both ways.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So I've been saying, brand photo shoot, brand photos, blah, blah, blah. Can you tell our audience what is the difference between, because clearly this is your specialty. So what is the
Mhm.
difference between a brand photo shoot and just say, other shoots like weddings or, things like that? What's the difference between the two
First of all, there are
or
so many
three or
differences,
four?
and yeah, I'm really glad you brought this up because one thing that happens a lot is that clients they'll hire a photographer, they'll hire a friend, they'll hire, a family photographer or a portrait photographer. And then when I eventually cross paths with them, they're like, I didn't get what I wanted or needed. Like you are completely different. Like we're talking about stories and strategies and like I just like kind of stood there and the pictures might be nice, but like I don't have a use for them. What makes brand photography different is, first of all, there's there's the commercial aspect of it, which is the photos are designed specifically for your unique brand to, leverage for your business, to make more money, to attract and repel certain clients, to, build confidence when people land on your website, to build confidence for yourself, really, is something I hear all the time. But as a photographer who's done other things in the past, long time ago, what's different about it is the fact that like there is a process that happens long before I ever meet you for your photo shoot. And I gotta say, not all brand photographers do that. A lot of brand photographers show up and shoot. And
Well,
something that
you
I,
are the
I know,
first one I've worked with that was so thorough. You sent out a
yeah,
questionnaire. You had questions about the brand. Are some key words for the brand? And then we met. I felt like you knew me. You knew what I did. You knew you did all of that before there were several there was the questionnaire, there was our meeting, there was like all of that before the photo shoot ever took place. I've never had that
yeah.
happen before.
That is something that I know makes me different, is that I think a lot of people think that, brand photography is just let me take pictures of you. But in order for brand photography to really give you the traction that it needs, it has to reflect the brand. It has to have intention, it has to have storytelling, it has to have alignment between the brand and everything that happens in the photo shoot. And for me, there has to be connection between me and the client, which is like kind of what my whole business is run around. And so for brand photography, that happens long before the photo shoot. The photo shoot process is much different, in the sense that like we're usually, for my clients, we're usually together a full day. Um, we are talking through scenes. We're collaborating. I have a plan for the photo shoot, like a blueprint of what's going to happen. I'm talking to the client about, do they have ideas? Did we get everything we needed? Do we want to add something or remove something? And then for my clients, I do a bunch of legwork before. So yes, we have a discovery call. Then we do um, I share some guides and resources before we ever get started. And then we do a planning call, which is where we kind of get to the nitty gritty of your business and like what we're here for.
Right.
And then I even create a mood board and a style guide to help make it easier for you. All of these pain points around a photo shoot. And so it's just so much more upfront work. There's so much more mentally involved in the process. And
Yes.
it's not something that you should just be throwing together. So I think all of that kind of contributes to how it's different.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's the planning and I felt so prepared. You even said, okay, you might consider, look at this cat here. She's so unimpressed by me right now.
I love how she pops up for you when you're doing this.
I know it's for those of you who are listening, you might go over to YouTube if you just want to see, a cat just stare you down like she gives no F's at all.
I
Um,
love it.
okay, sorry. I know she's part of the shoot. So um, if I'm an artist and I'm like, okay, I really want to turn this into a super viable business, right? So one of the questions I get is, do I need a photo shoot, a brand photo shoot to sell art? And I'm going to tell you right now, I sold a ton of art, a ton of art without a brand photo shoot. However, that was back before social media. That was years before social media. And it was not such a big deal to set myself apart from other artists in the arena, right? And so, no, you don't need a brand photo shoot to sell art, but will it help? Yes, hell yes, it will help so much. So, Alicia, what are some of the things that you've seen as like when we were meeting, you wanted to get certain shots, I think, for marketing. So, what are some of the
Yeah.
reasons you think an artist would need a brand photo shoot?
I'll say that overall, a brand photo shoot is helpful for every business. I don't think there's a business that really doesn't benefit, but it has to be tweaked for what the need is, what kind of business it is, and like how much they really need in terms of content. Um, One thing that I want to say is like my favorite part about a photo shoot is that it's a confidence building thing for the person and the brand alone. Like, how many of you have felt like imposters? How many of you have had a hard time saying that you're an artist? Or if you're not an artist, for me, when I was becoming a photographer full time, I was like so scared to say that word. And so, what I hear from clients a lot, especially when they're newer in business, is that the photo shoot gave them the confidence to like put themselves out there, to send people to their website. All of those things are kind of something that you don't even really factor in when you're planning for a brand photo shoot. And I think they're really important. Um,
God, that is
Other
so
reasons,
true.
yeah,
Oh my God, so true. And the confidence I think comes from, uh, well, it comes from a lot of things, but you just make us look so freaking legit. It's like, I don't know if it's the way you interacted with me that day or but when I got the photos back, I was blown away. So the confidence really comes from you make us look so good, right? And we're like, wait, is that me?
yeah,
Is that my art?
yeah.
Is that my, the way you styled it, everything. That was the big confidence builder, right?
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think it's so important to not only do the photo shoot, and this is also something that I think is a little bit different, but to build you up during the photo shoot. And what I love about brand photography is I love giving women this chance to see themselves through my eyes instead of what they see in the mirror. And it's the thing that really has like fueled me and kept me going is like when a woman is like, I look like that. And I'm like, yes, you just don't realize you look like that because you're critiquing yourself all day. Um, so yes, that's an important part of the process. But I'll also say like a brand photo shoot is going to give you so much. First of all, it's going to answer questions people have about who you are and what you do, right? It's going to automatically let people know if they're in the right place or not. People only tend to read 10 to 20% of the copy on your website, which is very little. And what they're going to do first is they're going to scroll and they're going to look through your images and they're immediately going to land on that image and say, is this a person I want to hire? What is this image telling me about this person? It's like when you've gone to like a team's website and you've seen a bunch of headshots and some of them you're like, ooh, I hope that I don't get that person, because they feel really stiff or cold. Um, it's all about like really conveying your warmth, who you are, and all of that just helps you establish yourself in the market, build credibility with your audience, um, attract more clients, more of the right clients, I'll say is super important. It changes how your brand is perceived by others, which means that you can raise your prices. You get more opportunities. It is something that you can use for all of your branding and marketing materials. So email newsletters, sending out flyers or posters or print media, um, social media posting, YouTube, like for your photo shoot, I was like, if you're on YouTube, let's get you some covers. Um, so really, I feel like the list is endless and I feel like I could really talk about that all day. But I think the big thing is expressing your value and expressing
Yeah.
who you are so that people can decide if they should hire you or not.
For sure, for sure. And one of the things that just comes to mind, Alicia, is years ago when I was first starting to apply to galleries, one of the things I heard from a couple different galleries was, is this a hobby or is this your profession? Right?
Yes.
And And a photo
Yes.
shoot, right? That set, and of course they would think it's a hobby because if you looked at the images that I had of myself or, whatever was out there, I think I had, had my daughter take a photo or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so the a photo shoot where it's so professionally done, it screams, I take this very seriously. I'm a professional.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was one of the things that's like on my list to share with you, which is that exactly that, people are looking to see, am I going to invest in you? Are you investing in yourself? Like, are you a person, should I spend my money with you because you're a person who spends your money and takes your business seriously? So, absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, I don't know. It just popped, my little ADD brain just popped right
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
So that's
That's how
great.
it goes for me too.
Okay. Uh, so, all right. So one of the things that you did is you wanted to make sure we had certain elements, like certain
Hmm.
things on hand, um, for us to use in the photo shoot. So I didn't just show up with a smile and a new, dress, right? Although I did do that. You did.
Yeah.
I
Which is
did go
important.
shopping. Yeah, exactly. It was important because it made me feel like, when you get a new outfit on, you just feel kind of fresh and new and a little bit sassy. So it really
Transformation.
did. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. But what
Transformation.
other elements, especially if you could speak, especially to like if for an artist, what do you feel like some of the elements that would be helpful for an artist for the shoot?
I feel like this is a two-pronged question, and so I'm going to say it now because I'm going to forget it once I start talking, which is
Okay.
first first of all, what do you need to be considering to make your brand shoot successful and worth the money? And then what can you do specifically as an artist to make your brand shoot successful? So let me start with like in general, because this is where I always start my clients. Before we ever start talking, and this is something I want to mention too. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but that's how my brain
That's
is.
all right.
Um, you have to understand that your brand is a reflection of you, but it is not you. There is an invisible line that separates you, the person, Jody, the person, from Jody, the artist, the media. And I think that sometimes that gets lost, especially with new brand photographers or like people who don't really express their authority and say, yes, we want to bring your personality as a business owner and who you are into this, but we don't want you to drown out what your business needs to be saying. And so what I mean by
Ooh,
that is
this is
like,
so big. Like that's a mic drop. I had never considered that. Oh my God. Okay, keep going. Sorry. That is
but
really,
also
really.
because we took you through the signature experience and we did it the right way, which is why I like to start my clients through the full process, is because you don't know what you don't know. And it's my
Right.
job to educate you and to guide you. But the first thing I always tell my clients is like, we need to get clarity. Obviously, you're a business owner and you know about your business, but a lot of times you haven't really done that deep dive into what does my brand really say about me? Like, what am I trying to do for the world? What message do I want people to get from my pictures when they see me? What story do I want them to take away? Like, how do I want them to remember me if they click away from my page? And like you did, you went and looked at several photographers, and so the way to do that is to take yourself out of it a little bit, to prioritize the brand, and to get really clear and make sure that everything in your photo shoot has alignment for the brand, the message, the goal. And so there's so many components of that that you should factor in. Um,
Can I
one of
just
them
interrupt
is
real
like,
quick?
yeah,
So just real quick, if you're an artist and you've worked with me, you know that I talk incessantly about your why. Why are you painting? What is motivating you? What are you like? Dig deeper into what is this really about for you, and what is your collector's experience of owning your work. What does it do for them? Because what it does for them is part of your why. Like all of this,
yes,
you can see how learning and doing the deep work of digging into your why and to what you're doing. You can see why it permeates everything. It permeates your messaging, it permeates your art, it permeates how you talk about your art, and it permeates a situation like this when you've got an incredible photographer like Alicia saying, tell me about what is the message you're trying to convey. If you haven't done that
Yeah.
other work about your why, it's a lot harder to do.
Yeah, and I do guide my clients through that process because I know what questions to ask to elicit what I need to from you to build the story around your photo shoot. Um, so yes, I mean, alignment is so important in everything we do in life,
Yeah.
especially as an artist or a creative of any kind. But you want everything to be in alignment. So everything should be telling a story. It should be, speaking to the message, to your why, and to what you want your audience to take away from that. And that means that every scene should narrate and add to that story. The location is a story element. It's one of those story elements people don't even really factor in. Like, you as an artist, it wouldn't make sense for us to go shoot you in like a glamorous hotel because that's not part of your message or your story. So
Right.
the location is a story element and it needs to align with who you are as an artist. Um, Clothing, styling, colors, all of that need to speak to you as an artist. And that's where like a lot of people get lost in the brand and themselves is like, they're like, well, I would never wear that color. And I'm like, but it's part of your brand. And they're like, yeah, but I don't like that color. And I'm like, well, we got to infuse that color because everything needs to be cohesive. Um, so props, all of that, like it just all needs to feel like it's telling the same story. Um, your body language. Oh man, I talk about micro expressions all the time with my clients and on my website. Um, we make these little tweaks in our faces that we don't pick up, but other people do, which is how somebody knows, like if you had a tone, you know?
Right.
And if you start looking at photography the way that we're kind of discussing it now, you'll start to notice when somebody looks really uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
that's a very standoffish photo. That's hurting their brand. Or if they
Yeah.
don't look like they're actually smiling and there's all this tension here,
Yeah.
I'm always getting my clients to send it up to their eyes, which you need reminders sometimes because you are getting exhausted. You never needed any of that because you're just such a joyful human. Um, but that
I,
connecting is so important.
when I was doing the shoot, I was like, are we getting any shots where my mouth is closed? Because we had such a good time.
So
I
much fun.
never, if you would have told me before a photo shoot, like, you're going to have a ball, I'd be like, no, there's absolutely no way
I
that's
did
going to be
tell
the
you that.
case.
I did tell you that. And I remember you telling me, because I hear this from my clients all the time. I hate being photographed. I'm so awkward. I just want to get it over. Can I do a smaller service because I don't want to do this all day? And I told you, you're going to have a lot more fun than I can possibly explain to you that you're going to have because you have this notion already in your head. And you said, well, I do much better in video than I do on photos. And the reason in my heart of hearts that I knew that was the case was that you didn't have somebody previously to lead you in a way where you were authentically showing up as yourself, where you
Right.
got to express who you are and be encouraged and not feel like you needed to contain anything, considering alignment, considering your message, all of that. And then using everything that helps tell your story. So the whole point of the brand shoot is to push you to growth, to make you a little bit uncomfortable. You should feel almost like the brand photo shoot, you're not quite there yet. And the reason is because the photo shoot is going to push you into growth and you're going to be growing and evolving and you already want to be where you're going, not where you currently are. And so I think it's really important to kind of
Ooh.
understand, yeah,
No, I
it
mean, I
shouldn't
just
be
had
what you
never heard
already
it.
have.
Right, right. I had never heard it said that way, where it should make you a little uncomfortable because this is for where you're going. It's not for where you
Yes.
are right now. What a mic drop. This photo
Yeah.
shoot is to elevate you, and you're maybe not quite there yet, but you're gonna
But
be.
you
And
will
so
be.
this is,
Yes.
yes, you
And
will
it's
be.
the
And I
first
think that's
step in
why,
that.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's why you're saying present the paintings that you're really proud of, right? Don't
Hmm.
like that's super important.
Yeah, present the stuff that maybe you're not quite ready to share yet, that has been emotionally fulfilling or challenging, and you've been a little bit scared to share it, but your heart is leading you that way. Share the stuff that's very meaningful and important to you. Share the stuff that you're experimenting with, right? Like, it's great to show a range if you'd like. You don't have to. I think that's really personal preference, but your art is a reflection of you, and it absolutely should be a prop in your scenes. Your art supplies, the things that you wear, you were so great about this. You in all over your website and your social media, and I know in your workshops and stuff, you're photographed in your blue shirt with your yellow handprints on your chest, and like we included that in your photo shoot because that's true to who you are. So art supplies, artwork, personality things that speak a little bit to your personality. You brought in a tonic, or what is it that you
Tequila?
drink? Yeah,
I
a
bring in
ranch water, a ranch water.
ranch water. That's right. We
And it
did have a
wasn't,
ranch water on the table.
and it wasn't a like I'm drinking a ranch water kind of prop, but it was an element that if somebody's really getting interested in you and they're looking around your photo, they're going to see that. And so it really depends on the story that you're telling. But I guess what I could do is talk a little bit about what kinds of shots you need, and then that might help fill in a little bit of the holes as to what you would want to
Let's
bring.
do that. That's perfect because an artist is definitely going to need to know because if they are not lucky enough to live where they can get to work with you here in Austin, then they're going to need to be able to tell a photographer, hey, I'm going to need these specific shots. And a lot of times you don't
Yes.
know until you know. So give it to us.
Yes. If you don't want to travel to Austin, which a lot of my clients do, just saying, tell your photographer. Your photographer, here's the thing. If you hire a brand photographer that does not know this stuff, please do not hire them. Like,
Oh,
I've had so many clients that have tried to go a cheaper route. They did the thing with me and they're like, "Oh, I'm not ready for that investment." And they went with somebody else. And they come back a few months later and they are like, I'm kicking myself that I didn't do it with you to begin with, because now they've spent double the money. They've probably eroded their self-esteem a little bit in that process. They're
yeah.
probably more uncomfortable in front of a photo, and like it's just more work. So your photographer should be conveying to you that they have a sense of what you're going to need, but if it's important for you to know too. And
Yeah.
so like one of the things I always tell my clients is obviously you need a headshot. Everybody needs one for something, even if you don't think you don't need one. But what I like to do for my clients is achieve a personality shot, like something that speaks more to who you are. And I saw that you updated your Instagram biopic, and it warmed my heart so much because one, that was one of my favorite images. The things that you loved were so many of the things that I loved, where you were being a little bit goofy or a little bit, you were being Jody. And
Yeah.
you didn't do that thing where people do where they're like, "Oh, that's not my best photo. I don't want to share that." You did the thing where you're like, "That's me. That's real Jody. I want to capture that." And your biopic now is like such a joyful, genuine moment that is a headshot of you essentially, but it says
Yes.
so much more than "here's my face."
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I want to say that one of the things that I love is that is that I was like flipping you off
Mm-hmm.
in some
Mm-hmm.
of the photos, which is also very me. But we didn't shy away from it, right? And you included them
No.
in the photos. I just love them. It's one of the ones I picked. So if you guys see that one, that's one of my favorites.
And it's, why it is because we infused your copy into the story.
Hmm.
Because I was like, "Jody, we need a photo for this." I remember we were gonna jump into the pool and you were like, why are we doing this?" And I said, "Jody, because you're talking about being in the splash zone." And you're like, "Oh my God, I didn't even make that connection. I didn't even like realize that's what we're doing." So that's what a good photographer is gonna do for you. Um, Use your brand photography as an opportunity to complement your copy, if not your copy now, your copy where you're going. And this is when I always tell clients, if you can do a brand photo shoot while you're doing a rebrand, a new website, a new vision, new copy, that is the best way to do it, because there's a blending and a merging that gives you a website that speaks truly to who you are, instead of a plug and play, a template where you have these three little round circles, you've seen it, and you just pop in three little pictures and it doesn't say anything about you. Ideally, you're making a big investment. I know how scary it is. I know how scary it is, but I would not steer you wrong. The investment that you make in your business, you're going to get back tenfold, not just
Absolutely.
in financial, but like in emotional value as well. Um, and so, yeah, ideally you would be doing all those things together, and your copy would match some of your photos, and your photos would match the vibe of your website, and everything would be working together, and your web designer would be considering your photos into the layout and building that layout around what we're telling and capturing, instead of you plugging and playing. But I digress. I want you guys to know that I can't tell you what you need without kind of telling you the context, and that's kind of why I'm going off on these tangents, is because it all kind of works together. And I want you guys, if you're going to invest in brand photography, especially as an artist, I want you to know how to do that in a way that's going to serve you well. But yes, in terms of the photos that you need as an artist, a personality headshot is something I always try to achieve for my clients. I don't always tell them that's what I'm doing, because I don't want them to tense up. I wait for the moment to happen sometimes.
Oh,
What
I
were you
had
gonna
no
say?
idea we were doing a headshot. Like
Yeah.
it just rolled with it, and then here we go. It's like a. I love that you say that it's a personality headshot. Love that. So
Yes.
we got
Yes.
headshot. We've got your some updated paintings. You know that your little maybe even little
Yeah.
haven't shown the world. I
You
did that.
with your
I
artwork.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So you
Yeah,
with your artwork. What
yes.
else?
You with your artwork. So you want to kind of explain who the artist is. One of your stories or scenes is, who is the artist, right? And the artwork speaks to that. What you're wearing speaks to that. Um, what props or location you have speak to that. And so one of the things that I also always encourage is behind the scenes photos. Your collectors are buying the piece because it means something. And if you can show what it took to make that piece and what you pour into your art, that piece is so much more valuable. You can charge more for it, obviously, but it means more to you and it means more to the collector. So
Yeah.
show that process. What does that process look like? You throw paint. We got you throwing paint, right? You're barefoot in the studio. We got you being barefoot. You know, if somebody paints on the floor, I always tell them, let's paint on the floor. So bringing in the behind the scenes that really speak to who you are as an artist and kind of connect that art with your audience is really important. Tools of the trade. So you're going to need some stock photography. You're going to need some stock photography that is not purchased off a website. Please don't do that. You need some stock photography, even if you're taking it with your iPhone. That will get you by until you do a brand photo shoot, and that will speak volumes more about who you are than a stock photo where the colors don't
Yeah.
match and the lighting doesn't match. But for you, a lot of things that I got for you were like vignettes of your space. That is all the brushes, all the mess, all of the texture
The
that your
paints.
supplies have, the paints. We did some flat lays of your pastels, you know, so all of those are going to be components that also speak to who you are as an artist, and they're going to help you fill out your website. You know, you should be in so many of your brand photos, but you need a break from your face on your
Yeah.
website. You need a break from your
Yeah.
face, and other people need a break from your face. So what kind of stock imagery for your brand can you bring in to kind of break that up?
That's going to make so many people happy because I'm always telling them that, you know, especially on Instagram, you should have some images of your face. And people are like, no, I don't want to show my face. So when you just said they need a break from your
Yeah.
face, that people are going to be like, oh, thank God, that doesn't have to all be. You definitely need to
I'll
be in them, but
Yes.
you don't have to be in. Give people a break,
You
break
can
from
use
your
your
face.
hands. Yes, you can use your hands. And I'll say that I've had clients who have really wanted to be kind of obscure in their images. They wanted to kind of be the body, but have a little bit of anonymity. And like, you can do that, but there needs to be a human element in your images to really connect. And so like, if you don't if you want less pictures of your face showing, then I would encourage you to use more of your hands to maybe get more images where they're shooting over your shoulder or from the side, more candid. Um, and so there's an we can work it out. We can work it
Yeah.
out for what makes sense for the brand. And I always encourage brands, artists to get some lifestyle images, like show who you are outside of the work, because that's especially inspiring the actual work. And so for you, we did so many different components you bring to your business, right? The other things that you offer in your job, podcasting, mentoring, but we also did like you in your home space sitting on your couch, you in your kitchen because you have such a love for cooking. So those are some
Just a
shots that I
correction
would
there.
factor.
Just a little correction. It's not that I have a love for cooking, I have a love for eating.
Amen.
It's the it's
Amen.
the it's the eating part for me. And since I have all of these food allergies, it's just easier for me to cook. So I cook all the time. Not that
Yeah.
I don't like cooking. Sorry, I digress. It's like because your love
Yes,
for cooking,
yes.
like
But like it shows so much, it shows a different side of you.
yes,
And that's an important element. So those are like at least five things I would already be factoring in. And then like if I was working with the artist, I would be speaking to them to get a more honed in list specifically for them.
yeah. Well, all of those things we captured, all of those things were seamless. They were fun. We get all of it, and I have a boatload of images now that I can use for. Oh my gosh, so many. I mean, I can't. I mean, I could add it up, but I have a ton of photos now that
Yes.
I can use for a variety of different things, and I am ready when that magazine
Oh,
says,
I
"Hey, can
know.
you send me a headshot?" I'm ready. Like I don't have to go out and like scramble and have a
Yes.
half-ass image. And it's like it is a representation of who I am. And also, I mean, the web is here to stay. And so whatever image you put out there now is
Oh
going
my
to be
gosh, you're
out there,
so
right? Like in 20
forever.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
forever, like and ever.
When you
So
Google somebody, you can scroll through all those Google images and see some of that stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so what you've given us is so important and so invaluable. Is there anything else you feel like an artist really needs to know about, getting doing a brand photo shoot? I can't wait to give everybody your information, by the way. It's also going to be in the show notes. But is there anything in particular you're just like really passionate about that you feel like we should know about for a shoot?
I think every artist, including photographer, has a different why. And I think that if you're looking for a brand photographer, you need to be selective. First of all, don't look for a portrait photographer, look for a brand photographer. And I mean, don't look for a photographer that does families. They do a little bit of newborn, they do a little bit of couples and weddings, and they also stuck brand photography in there. Because as a person who used to do multiple things back in 2012, I can tell you that your energy and attention is split so far among these brand jobs that you can't do the service as well as it needs to be done for the brand photo shoot. Is my experience. I would also say like connect with a brand photographer before you reach out to them. Like check their social media, check their website, check their Google reviews. Like what are people saying about them? What's the common thread? And does that connect for you? Like, are you going to be able to give yourself over to this person and let them guide you? And I'll say that something that meant so much to me in our experience is that, and this is, I think, why I also love artists, is that you never ever made me feel like I didn't know what I was doing. You never micromanaged me. You never questioned me. You collaborated with us, right? I asked you for input. You had ideas. We shared them. But you were like the whole time, I'm going to do what you tell me to. I'm going to get dressed in what you tell me to. I'm going to. And that is where the best stuff can happen because I can flex my creativity. That trust allows me to be more open and to get more from you and more from the photo shoot. And so you want to reach out to a photographer that you feel is going to give you that let looseness. Um,
Yes. Well, I want to
I
say though, I only trusted you because we had taken so much time ahead of time to talk about all the things. Like I was wearing those clothes because we talked about the outfits that
yeah,
were going to represent me best. I was in, we talked about all of it. So when you showed up, I'm like, this chick, you know, because normally I'm like, nobody's the boss of me. Don't tell me what to wear. Don't tell me how to
yeah,
stand. Don't tell me how to smile. Don't tell me anything, right?
yes,
but but
yes.
we had developed such a rapport, and I trusted you so much that by the time you walked in the door for the shoot, I'm like, this chick knows.
I
She
felt
knows
like
her
we were
stuff.
already, yeah, felt like we
Like
were already a team, you know?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it was like an understanding. You don't tell me how to paint. I won't tell you how to shoot this, do
Yes.
this shoot.
Yes. And get that sense from them when you're, reaching out to them or kind of exploring them. Are they authentic? Are they how do they speak to their audience? When you reach out to them, do they have a process? Are you waiting 5 days to hear from them? I'm going to tell you that's a red flag. Like, are you hearing back from them quickly? Are they taking you through the process and the next step? So I would just say it really matters who you hire, and you really need to feel like you can trust them and that they've got your back and they're going to hold your hand through this and make it the best investment possible for you.
Oh my gosh, all of that. I love it. And all of it is 100% accurate, especially like we said at the beginning, if you're somebody who doesn't love photo shoots, doesn't love doing that, to be able to trust the person taking your photos is is imperative. Absolutely imperative. So I agree with all of that.
It makes
Alicia,
such a difference. Yes.
I am so appreciative of not only the shoot, the images, just who you are as a person. But I just feel like I want everybody to know about you. If somebody, well, first of all, how can people find you?
Um, the best way to find me is probably through my website, alicialeigh.com, Lee spelled Leigh, Alicia spelled Alicia, like Alicia Keys. So alicialeigh.com. And
And we'll put
I would
this in
say
the
like,
show notes too, everybody. So you can just go and click on her and go straight to her website. And how else can they reach you?
um, you can definitely check out my Instagram, which I will be honest, I've dropped the ball on a lot of it, but I'm picking it up. But it will give you a sense of, who I am and what I offer, and it'll take you a little bit behind the scenes, especially in stories. I'm much better on stories. So, um, yeah, and like I'm excited for you guys. Whoever you reach out to, I promise it's going to be worth the investment if you follow your heart on that and you keep everything in alignment. It's going to make such a difference for you.
I love it. All right. So if you live in Austin and you don't hire Alicia, I can't with you. If you, if you,
Thank
if
you,
you
Jody.
don't live in Austin, but you want to work with Alicia, what's the best way for them to do that? Because like obviously I have a studio and
Yes.
I do the podcast stuff out of my home, so you came here. But is there any way somebody can work with you if they don't live in Austin?
Yes, I have a lot of people who fly in. I have people who fly in from like Honduras. I have people who come down from New York. I have people from Florida. And, so people do come and they make an effort when they feel like I'm the right photographer. So I just want to encourage you that, like, if that's the case, you can reach out to me. You can let me know that you don't live in Austin and, maybe a time frame that you would be able to fly in and make a weekend of it. And then I'll kind of help you navigate that. Like, when would be a good time, first of all, to come to an Austin airport, and when would not be a good time, and what that
Yeah.
process could look like, and how we could make it manageable for you. And yeah, I'll guide you the whole way through from there.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much. First of all, for everything you've added today, because I know the artists are going to get, it's like this is just incredibly invaluable information. So thank you for that, and thank you for
I
just
hope so. Yeah.
being such a badass and doing such a great job on my shoot. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. It's been such a pleasure to just get to know you in this way. And I love everything that you're doing and putting out there. The community that you're building, I'll say, is so special. Your podcast is remarkable. You're everything that I hope business owners are. And so thank you. Thank you.
That's so kind of you. All right, everybody, take care, and definitely go check out Alicia's website, her Instagram, all of the things. And, I encourage you to work with her if you can. All right, until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. Peace out. So I often get asked, what's the number one thing that has made the biggest difference in my creativity and abundant life? And without a doubt, my answer is always meditation. It helps me to feel present and to feel grounded, which is essential for me as an artist and really for anyone to be able to get into that creative zone. So that's why I created a free meditation for anyone looking to get centered and to experience more abundance in their life. If this sounds like something you'd be into, you can find it at the link in the show notes.